Hey guys, what's going on? I'm back touching on something I've never talked about before, and that is Figma. Recently, I've been doing a lot more UI heavy stuff instead of video editing and After Effects related things. If you're here, that means you're wanting to make an accordion component that automatically minimizes like this whenever you switch between items. And this is, in this case, meant as a method of keeping content from going off the bottom of the page. And I haven't seen many YouTube videos about how to do this particular style of accordion component. So if you find this video helpful, please leave a like, subscribe. I'll probably be doing more Figma content in the future. So without further ado, let's get into this. What we're going to need is some text, first and foremost. We're going to need a question. And below that, we're going to need an answer. And we're going to want these to probably be visually distinct, so it's not too confusing which is which, and just to create some visual hierarchy here. So we'll go with 12-point font here and 16-point up here. And we'll make this, it's already semi-bold. I'll change the answer text to be regular. It's going to need a background. So by clicking on them and holding shift as we click, and then we'll go up to layout on the side here and hit use auto layout. And what that's going to do, it's going to encase all this text in a frame. If I just create some text here, you'll see if I expand this and contract this, the text adjusts. So it becomes responsive, essentially. In order to get a good sense of how this works, I actually need some content. So let me just come up with a random question here. Is a hot dog a sandwich? All right. And we'll need an answer. No, a hot dog is not a sandwich. Okay, that's our question. That's our answer. Let's add a fill in the background. We'll just keep it pure white, and we'll have to select our text and make it black so we can actually see it. Add some padding. It's a bit too much padding. Bring it down to 12. Add some corner radius, maybe a little less. I'm also going to change the color of the answer text a little bit, maybe desaturated brown or red color a little bit, like that. I'm also going to make a background fill for the page that this is going to be on, a light pink, a light salmon color. There we go. And let's add some text for frequently asked questions. And I will make this medium and turn this up to maybe 20. There we go. So now that we've got our basic layout figured out, like what the individual style of our questions are going to be, I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to hit this button up here. It says create component. I'm going to make this a component. Now, essentially what this does is this can now be referenced by hold Alt and pull this back onto this page. This is now an instance of this component, and if I change anything here, it changes up on the page as well. And you can go up here to where it says add variant, click that. Now we've got two variants of the same component. I'm gonna go to the top one, I'm gonna rename property 1 up here to state, and we're gonna rename the value to collapsed. Then we're going to go to the bottom one, same thing. This time we're going to name it expanded. We've got a collapsed version and an expanded version, but they both look the same. So we're going to have to change one of them. This one, we're going to not delete the text, but we're going to come down here into auto layout where it says clip content. Turn that on. We're actually going to want to do that for both. So let's go ahead and click on the hover version or the expanded version as well and select clip content. I'm going to set the height to hug on both of these, which you can do in the auto layout section. For the collapsed version, I'm just going to hide this layer, and that way, if the top ever drops down, the frame expands with it. This will make it more responsive, which is always important. So you already notice it's changed up here now. So is a hot dog a sandwich? You just see the question. However, if we click on this, we go up to state, select expanded, it changes to the expanded version. We've got two variations of the same component. I'm actually going to add a little bit more stylization to the expanded version. You typically want to do this because let's say we have a ton of these. You just have one of them expanded. It looks fine, but it's not immediately apparent which one is selected, especially if the answer to this question is really short. It doesn't really stand out visually speaking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the expanded version, and I'm going to add a little bit of a stroke, but I'm going to get a little cheeky with it and make it just show up on the bottom and make the weight 4. And since we have rounded corners, it's going to look like it's being raised a little bit off the page. See, that's kind of rounded on the corners. Now it stands out. Now it looks like it's actually coming out in 3D space a little bit. So we've got two different variants of this component. We've got all the questions here, but none of them are different. So we're going to have to rename them and adjust the content. And this is not interactable yet. We've just made a mock-up at this point. We haven't made a prototype, which is interactable. So we're going to take all of our questions. We're going to pull them out. And we're going to, with everything selected, we're going to make another component. I'm going to select the remaining questions that aren't expanded. I'm going to expand them and also make sure that they are spaced properly. So our first question was, is a hot dog a sandwich? No, it is not a sandwich. Well, let's see here. What about a taco? No, you dummy. See the question literally right above this one. What if I cut the middle and made it to pieces? Yes, but it would also not be a taco because it no longer functions like a taco would. But if it's got taco stuff in it, look, I think you're missing the point. Sandwiches and tacos are distinct form factors of food to which the shape and function of the bread are paramount. The shell-shaped tortilla, key feature that makes it what it is. So what you're saying is that a hot dog is actually a taco. All right, we got some good questions and answers here. Some real spicy content. So great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the whole component, hit this little button up here that says add variant, and then hit this plus button here to add 3, 4, 5. We have 5 variants now. And I'm just going to choose the top variant here, alt click and drag. Something else I want to add that I didn't think about is a drop down arrow, because it might not be obvious that these are drop downs. Little arrow here, like that, right? Gonna paste it here. It's gonna paste below, but if I select this layer and the text and hit auto layout again, and then select horizontal flow, that's gonna put them next to each other. Now it's a little big, so I'm gonna decrease it size a little bit, maybe to 12. And it's kind of awkwardly aligned to the top right, not in line with the text. So I'm going to select this whole frame again and align center. I'm going to add this to other variant as well. And for the expanded version, I'm going to rotate this. Instead of making the gap auto, I'm going to set the gap to whatever I want the gap to be at minimum, which I will choose as 12. And then I will select the text box and make the width fill. Boom. I think that looks a lot better. Might even want a little bit extra gap between the arrow and the text. I'm going to make this 24. Now we have 5 variants here. Each one is going to represent one of the questions as they expand. So this top variant is for, is a hot dog a sandwich? The second one's going to be for, what about a hot dog? So I'll expand that one. Third one, the third question should be expanded. Fourth one, the fourth question should be expanded. The fifth one, the last question. Now what we're going to do next is a little advanced. So we're going to need to add interactions to each one of these drop downs. But we're going to need each of the interactions to be identical across all of these variants. I'm going to select this top question in the first variant. I'm going to go to design. I'm going to go to multi-edit variants, which is going to select each of the questions in each variant that have the same title. Then I'm going to go to prototype with all of those selected. I'm going to go to interactions and trigger. I'll leave as on click. If you want to make this on hover, probably want to select mouse enter instead. But in my case, I'm just going to leave it on click because I want to be able to click on each one of these to expand it. In actions, I'm going to select change to, and then I'm going to select default. And I'm going to select for the animation, smart animate. And I'll leave the duration as is. I'll leave the curve as is. I'll just exit out. You'll notice all these interactions have just been prototyped at the same exact time by using this multi-edit function. So we're going to do the same thing for the second question. And when we select this, it's going to select the second question and all the other variants as well. Go to prototype, add an interaction, on click, change to variant 2, which I should have renamed these. I'm actually going to do that right now. The interactions have been prototyped all at once yet again. So let's move on to the next question. Question 3, interactions, on click, change to question 3, smart animate, keep everything else as is. Move on to question 4, on click, change to question 4, smart animate, question 5, smart animate, all the same. Okay, so now every single one of these questions are interactable now, just like that. I went kind of slowly, but if once you know how this works and you know how to use this button here, the multi-edit variants button, you can do this in under a minute. I do not recall when they added this multi-edit variants function, but this has made it so much easier to make stuff like this. So let's go up to the play button in the top right-hand corner. Oh yeah. Look at that. It's a little jerky. That's just Figma for you, but these two are nice. Let's just look at these two. Looks nice. All right, well, that's pretty much it. That's all you need to know to do this particular component. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. But I am going to be doing other videos on other topics in the future as I think of some to do. If you got any suggestions, go ahead and let me know. But anyway, that's all for today. I'll see you guys in the next video.